Hare Krishna, all of you. Welcome to this class on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto number 2, chapter number 4. So, in the previous chapter, we have seen how Shaunaka Rishi was encouraging Suta Goswami to talk about Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is the conversation between Shukadeva Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj. Both of these personalities are very well qualified spiritually, because Shukadeva Goswami is the greatest transcendentalist, and Parikshit Maharaj was the grandson of Arjuna, and he was a wonderful devotee of Lord Sri Krishna. So let us begin today's chapter with the first verse, where Suta Goswami is encouraged very much by the Shaunaka Rishi and all the other rishis who are present in the Naimisharanya. So all these rishis have assembled in Naimisharanya to perform a fire sacrifice for 1000 years, for counteracting the ill effects of the age of Kali. So the first verse goes like this. Suta vacha vayasakiriti vachas tatvanishchayam atmanaha upadharya matim krishne autarya satim vyadat. Suta Goswami said, Maharaja Parikshit, the son of Uttara, after hearing the speeches of Shukadeva Goswami, which were all about the truth of the self, applied his concentration faithfully upon Lord Sri Krishna. So Suta Goswami is telling about Shukadeva Goswami and his conversation with Parikshit Maharaj. So Shukadeva Goswami has been referred here as Vyasakir. That is, Vyasadeva's son is Vyasakir. And he applied his concentration fully upon Lord Sri Krishna. And here there is a word, Autareyaha. Autareyaha means the son of Queen Uttara. So you see, Sanskrit language is so powerful. You can get the name of the son from the father's name. Right? For example, Bharata means a descendant of Bharata. Kaunteya, right, is the son of Kunti, right? Or we can say Pritha, the daughter of Prithu, like that, right? So we can get the word, from the father's name or the mother's name, we can make of the son's or daughter's name. So here, Vyasakir has the word, this has come from the name Vyasa. And the name Autareya has come from the word Uttara. So the son of Vyasadeva is talking to the son of Uttara. And what was it that they were talking? Right? That will be the subject of this chapter. Right? And the name of today's chapter is called as the process of creation. See, this universe has got a story. How this universe has been created. Of course, the mundane scholars, they come up with so many impersonal theories about the creation of the universe. But factually, how the universe has been formed is given in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So in this verse particularly, there is a word called Satim Vyadat. So let's just explore what that Sati means. Sati, as we know, it refers to chaste. The another meaning of Satim is existing. That is, there can be two meanings that can be taken out of this. That this devotee, Parikshit Maharaj, who was very chaste or who was very purely dedicated to Sri Krishna, or who was an unalloyed devotee of Lord Sri Krishna. That is one meaning. And the other meaning is that who is already a devotee of Krishna. Because at the time when this was happened, right, we already know that Parikshit Maharaj, when he was born, even before he was born, when he was in the womb of Uttara, at that time, Ashwatthama had released a Brahmastra. And Lord Sri Krishna personally entered inside the womb and absorbed the entire Brahmastra. So, Parikshit Maharaj had already seen Lord Sri Krishna even before his birth. And he was a devotee from then itself, even before the birth. So, he is already a devotee, right? The other meaning is that if you have to be a devotee, you have to be an unalloyed devotee of Krishna. Because we have to understand the purpose of the Vedas. What is the purpose of Vedas? The purpose of the Vedas is to draw our attention entirely to the lotus feet of Krishna. So, we have so many Vedic literatures. Primarily, we have the 4 divisions of the Vedas. Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Samaveda and Atharvana. And we have the classification of various Upanishads. And we have Puranas, 18 Mahapuranas and many Upapuranas or minor Puranas. And we have Mahabharata. And ultimately, we have the Vedanta Sutras. These Vedanta Sutras are aphorisms written by Vyasadeva, which are like a condensed form of the conclusion of the Vedas. So the conclusion of Vedas, or the purpose of the Vedas, is to draw our attention entirely to the lotus feet of the Lord. To completely take to the shelter of lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna is the purport of the Vedas. How do we know that? Sri Krishna, he says in 15.15, Vedaischa sarvairaham eva vedyo. Of all the Vedas, I am to be known. So, we have 3 things that are worshipable. One is the impersonal Brahman, which has been glorified in many of the verses in the Upanishads, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the incarnation of Vedas. So Vedas is also one kind of an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? So why is it that Vedas are so worshipable? Why should we, follow the path of the Vedas? That is because Vedas show us the right direction to live. They mold our lives so that we can live a lifestyle that will help us go back to home, back to Godhead. So, Vedas are leading to the knowledge of Krishna. Therefore, the Vedas are very important and they are worshipable. And Vyasadeva is the original compiler of this Vedas or the Vedanta Sutras. Vedas were already being given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but they have been divided or compiled into 4 by Vyasadeva. And the purpose is for the less intelligent people of Kali Yuga. Mandasya mandapragyasya, very less intelligent. We cannot remember anything. But people in the bygone ages, they could memorize textbooks. And this is called as the Shruti Parampara. That is, there was no need of any book also. because they could simply hear and even remember. That was their capacity. They were called Shrutidhara. That means they will hear only once and they will just repeat the entire text then and there. So that is their capacity. Right? Because people are less intelligent in Kali Yuga, Vyasadeva had to divide this Veda into 4. Because we won't understand, he had to write the Puranas. And he had to write the commentary or the purport or a condensed form of all the purport of this Vedanta, right? Which forms the analysis of the analytical knowledge of the Vedas, called as the Vedanta Sutra. And Vedanta Sutras, what are they leading towards? Let's just think about it with some common sense. If the most important text is the Vedas, and if the most important part of the Vedanta Sutras it is, then what it must be leading towards? It must be leading towards the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Is it not? Do you think that it must be leading towards the impersonal form? No, not at all. So we have to understand what is this impersonal form, that is Nirakara Brahman, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Who is he? What is the relationship? Are they independent? Is impersonal Brahman superior to Supreme Personality of Godhead? If that is the case, then it is violating Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, Matta parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya. There is no truth that is superior to me. Mai sarvamidam prottam sutre manigana iva. On the other hand, Lord Sri Krishna says in the 14th chapter that Brahma hi pratishtaham amrutasya avyayasya cha. That is the Nirakara Brahman. Krishna is the basis of Nirakara Brahman. So, what we have understood so far is the Vedas are worshipable because they are molding our life. They are giving us a path to know about Krishna, to serve Krishna, and to go back to home, back to Godhead. And this is the Vedanta Sutra that Vyasadeva has written. And who is this Vyasadeva? He is an ordinary person, is he? Not at all. He is the literary incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He has been mentioned as one of the avatars in Srimad Bhagavatam and in many other texts also. Right? And he does not have the 4 defects that mundane people will have. He does not have the propensity to cheat or the imperfect senses. Right? Or he doesn't get illusion or he doesn't commit a mistake. These 4 mistakes or the 4 defects that a normal person has, he doesn't have. So therefore, when he writes Vedanta Sutras, it is a perfect literature. Nobody can correct Vedanta Sutras, write a commentary on it and say, there is a mistake here. It is impossible. Right? Because he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead's incarnation. And whatever he writes is perfect. Right? Because he is a self-realized soul, Trikalagya. He knows the past, present, and future. Right? So now that we have the Vedanta Sutras, how do we understand it and approach it? So it has been said, Artoham Brahma Sutrana, Srimad Bhagavatam is the commentary written by Vyasadeva on the Vedanta Sutras. So that people of Kali Yuga do not misinterpret these Vedanta Sutras. The original purpose of the Vedanta Sutras is to draw our attention towards Krishna. But what happens in Kali Yuga is, there will be commentaries that will take us away from the lotus feet of Krishna. That is the deviation of Kali Yuga. So Srimad Bhagavatam has been written to ensure that by the author himself, Vyasadeva, right? Ensure that nobody misrepresents the Vedanta Sutras. So in fact, we don't need any commentary because the author himself has written the commentary in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam that we are discussing today. I'll tell you some of the aphorisms of Vedanta Sutra and you'll get a taste of it. The first sutra says, Athato Brahma Jignasa. So there may be a confusion that since the Vedas are saying that Karma Kanda is very nice, right? If you perform some ritualistic sacrifices, you can go to the heavenly planets and you can be immortally enjoying in the heavenly planets. So is that the conclusion of Vedas? So the first sutra says, Athato Brahma Jignasa. Now therefore one should inquire about Brahman. So Brahman, what is Brahman? Brahman, does it mean the soul? Like the impersonalists, what they try to do is, wherever there is the description of Brahman, Brahman means simple. The word meaning means the greatest. What is the greatest? The greatest is God. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the greatest. So the Upanishads take an indirect way of talking about Krishna. Whereas the Puranas, they talk directly. Not all the Upanishads, of course. There are some direct references to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the Upanishads, like Narayana Upanishad, Gopala Tapani Upanishad, Radha Upanishad, right? Like that, we have direct references to the Supreme Personality of Godhead also. But generally, the language of the Upanishads is slightly indirect, just like talking, referring to someone very formally, in a very intellectual fashion, right? So now, therefore, some people take advantage of this and try to misrepresent. What they try to do is, they have taken certain verses of the Upanishads which seem to be indicating impersonal nature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and they have stressed on the impersonal form. Of course, impersonal form is nothing but Krishna's energy only. There is no doubt about it. It is Krishna's another feature. But denying the personal feature of Krishna is actually denying an opulence of a personality. If you have something and if I say that no, you do not have it, is that not an offense? So this is actually an offense to the Supreme Personality of Godhead to say that Supreme Personality of Godhead is impersonal. So the Mayavadi scholars, they try to comment on the Brahma Sutras or the Vedanta Sutras by stating that this Brahman, Athato Brahma Jignasa, Brahman means soul, not the super soul. So is Brahman soul? No. How do we know that? The next Vedanta Sutra says Janmadyasya Yataha. Janmadyasya Yataha is clearing it up. So one after the other, Vyasadeva is clearing, he's pointing towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Shri Krishna is saying, Brahman is he from whom everything emanates. Janma Adi Asya. Janma Adi means, Janma means creation. Adi means etc. Creation, maintenance and destruction. From whom creation, maintenance and destruction happen, that is Brahman. So you tell me, does creation, maintenance and destruction happen because of the soul? Are we the cause of the creation of the material world? Are we maintaining the material world? Are we destroying the material world at the end of it? We have to think logically, right? So Brahman means Krishna. So the Narayana Upanishad says, Brahmano Devaki Putraha, very clearly, Devaki Putraha. There is no indirect reference. The son of Devaki, Krishna, right? Krishna is Brahman. That's why the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, Srila Prabhupada has written that, quoting Lord Chaitanya said, wherever you see the word Brahman referred to in the Upanishads, simply replace that word Brahman with Krishna. That is the actual meaning. So the next question is, can I speculate about Krishna? Now, the impersonalists, they want to speculate about Krishna. They don't want to follow the authoritative scriptures as it is. Krishna is saying, I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead, surrender unto me. But they do not want to directly accept that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Whereas they want to take to the speculative method, right? So there is a verse from Gopal Tapani Upanishad which says Sachidananda Rupaya Krishna Klishta Karine Namo Vedanta Vedyaya Gurute Buddhi Sakshine. Means I offer my respectful obeisances to Sri Krishna, whose form is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss, who is a rescuer from distress, who is understood by Vedanta, who is the supreme spiritual master, and who is a witness in everyone's heart. So this is Gopala Tapani Upanishad is saying that he is understood by Vedanta. Krishna can be understood by Vedanta. It is not that the Vedas are not helpful in understanding the Vedanta, and speculative process is not useful. So how do we know that? The next aphorism says Shastra Yonitvat. Shastra Yonitvat means the Supreme Personality of Godhead can be understood only by the revelation of the Vedic scriptures. Right? So through the revelation of the Vedic scriptures, it is possible to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because we are able to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the verses of the Vedas, that is through Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Then why cannot we understand by these Vedic literature? Shastra Yonitva, third aphorism, Vedanta Sutra. Right? The fourth one, Tattu Samanvayat. Right? That means, but that Lord Vishnu is the sole topic of discussion in the Vedas, is confirmed by all the scriptures. Right? Now we came to the point. What is the purpose of the Vedas? We started from there. What is the purpose of the Vedas? The purpose of the Vedas is Tattu Samanvayat, because it has already been said. All the Vedic literature are not talking about Lord Vishnu. Right? That has been confirmed by all the scriptures. Whether you take it Ramayana, or you take Mahabharata, or you take any Veda, any Upanishad, everything is talking about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The conclusion is, please take the shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. This is the conclusion of the Vedas. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is glorified in all the Vedas. Yosu sarvair vedair giyate. Right? This is another verse from the Shruti. It says, Supreme Personality of Godhead is glorified everywhere. Right? And in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Krishna is telling to Uddhava, what is the direction of all the Vedic literatures? On whom do they set focus? Who is the purpose of all the speculation? Outside of me, no one knows these things. Krishna is saying to Uddhava, now you should know that all these activities are aimed at ordering and setting forth me. The purpose of the Vedic literature is to know me by different speculation, either by indirect understanding or by dictionary understanding. Everyone is speculating about me. Srimad Bhagavatam 11.2, 11.21.42 and 43. So everybody is speculating about Krishna with knowledge or without knowledge. Even the impersonalists, they are thinking we are speculating about impersonal Brahman, which is above Krishna, but Krishna is telling that impersonal Brahman is subordinate to him. Actually, they are indirectly speculating about Krishna. They do not know that, actually. Right? So basically, what we understood is that the Vedas are ultimately glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So to become a pure devotee, we require two things. To be born in the family of a devotee and to have the blessings of a bona fide spiritual master. So this will enable us to become a pure devotee for sure. Right? So Parikshit Maharaj was so lucky, so fortunate. He had both. Right? He was the grandson of Arjuna. And the Pandavas were the pure devotees of Lord Sri Krishna. So that way, he was very lucky. Right? And Krishna also in Bhagavad Gita, he says that the best birth is to be born in the family of devotees. And in the so many devotee prayers also, the devotees, they pray that, it's okay that I am taking, life after life also I am born. It does not matter. What matters to me is I must become the dog of a devotee, so that at least I can get the prasadam offered, the prasadam of the Lord Krishna I can eat. Right? At least I can hear this pure devotees association I will have. I can always be with them. Right? And Lord Brahma is asking, let me become grass in the Vrindavana. He's not saying, oh dear Lord, give me liberation. No. He's saying, make me the grass, blade of grass in the outskirts of Vrindavana, so that, your pure devotees, they will trample their lotus feet on my head. Right? So this is the first thing. To be born in the family of a devotee is very lucky. Right? It's a great position. To be born in the family of a devotee is such a big thing. Because right from the childhood, there is opportunity for spiritual progress. Right? That is, we are on a march towards Krishna. And the parents are very favorable. They are encouraging, to go towards Krishna. What else can be better than that? Because in the material world, everything is against Krishna. Maya means forgetfulness of Krishna. And any kind of birth, you may be born in the family of a very aristocratic family or in the family of the Brahmanas also. Still, they may not be able to push forward us in devotional service. But the pure devotees, they will definitely push us. Just like how we push our children. You have to study. You have to study. If you don't study, I will hit you with belt. Go. Like that, the pure devotees, right from childhood, they will be pushing towards to chant the names of Krishna. So lucky. Just like how we are emphasizing on medical education. If you don't crack IIT, JEE, I will not talk to you. They will say, if you do not do Bhakti Shastri, I will not talk to you. So actually, just to tell you some examples, His Grace Amarendra Prabhu was telling how his parents used to encourage him in Krishna consciousness when he was young, right? His mother used to say that if you do not ask questions at the end of the Srimad Bhagavatam class, I will not give you food in the night. She used to say like that literally, right? And she used to make him memorize the verses. And today he's such a wonderful preacher like that. So this is such a wonderful opportunity, right? To be born in the family of devotees. This is the difference between being born in the family of a materialistic person or born in the family of a devotee. The second thing is we need the blessings of a bona fide spiritual master. Because there's a verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita which says, Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyamana Jiva Guru Krishna Prasade Paya Bhakti Lata Bija. That is, according to karma, the living entities are wandering the entire universe. Some of them are being elevated even to the upper planetary system, and some are going to the lower planetary system. Some of them are getting human birth, some of them are getting demigod birth, some of them are getting animal birth or a demon birth. Different kinds of birth they are getting. But only one who is very fortunate, Kono Bhagyavan Jeev, Guru Krishna Kripa Paye Bhakti Lata Bija. Only very, very, very lucky soul. Among these, I don't even know, trillions or gazillions. I don't even have the numbers. How many living entities are there? Innumerable living entities in this material world. One fortunate soul is getting the chance of associating with the bona fide spiritual master and getting the Bhakti Lata Bija planted inside the heart. And bona fide spiritual master means a guru who is coming in a bona fide sampradaya, right? Not a materialistic person. Right? Guru means a person who knows Krishna Tattva. Guru does not mean a Brahmana or a sannyasi. Guru means one who knows the Krishna Tattva, right? Whoever knows the Krishna Tattva, that is a guru. And who comes in the bona fide Guru Parampara, right? This is the parampara of hearing, right? So that is lucky. So Parikshit Maharaj is so glorious. He's so lucky. He has got Shukadeva Goswami as the guru. Shukadeva Goswami is the only son of Vyasadeva. Please note this point. Now, when parents have only one son, their entire focus is on that child. And let's say that a father is a big consultant, management consultant. And he has got many strategies, many startups, he's got a conglomerate. So, to his son, what is he going to give? Will he give the best one, or the mediocre one, or the worst one? He will give the best. Is it not? Obviously. So what did Vyasadeva teach to Shukadeva Goswami? Did he teach the Vedas? Did he teach the Puranas? Did he teach Mahabharata? What did he teach? He taught only one thing. Only one book. Srimad Bhagavatam. So we can understand how important Srimad Bhagavatam is. That Shukadeva Goswami, who was already liberated soul, was not interested in any literature. And Vyasadeva taught only one literature to his son, Shukadeva Goswami, which is the essence of all the Vedic literature, which is the fruit of the desire tree of the Vedas. Let's go to the next verse. Atmajaya sutagara pashudra vinabhandushu rajye chavikale nityam virudham pamatam jahau. Maharaja Parikshit, as a result of his full-hearted attraction for Lord Krishna, was able to give up all deep-rooted affection for his personal body, his wife, his children, his palace, his animals like horses and elephants, his treasury house, his friends and relatives, and his undisputed kingdom. Right? So this is talking about material life versus spiritual life. So what happened here? Parikshit Maharaj, he was able to give up all the attachment. To whom? To his personal body. It's a deep-rooted attachment. My body. Right? Even a small child also, if you observe, if a small child gets small hurt, he will say, he will see it again repeatedly. What happened to my hand? What happened to my hand? Right? He will take a picture and he will see that what happened to my hand. Right? Just like that, we're very concerned with this body. We have got a deep-rooted attachment for our body to begin with. And then, the extension of that attachment is wife. That extension is children. Further extension is house. Further extension is animals or pets. Right? And further extension is bank balance. And further extension is friends and relatives. Right? All this. Right? This is called as a Dehatma Buddhi. Dehatma Buddhi means attachment for bodily coverings. That is my body, wife, children, etc. This is called as Dehatma Buddhi. Right? Horses and elephants, they used to be using in the Vedic age. That is thousands of years ago. But now, horses have been replaced by bikes. Elephants are replaced by cars. So we still have attachment towards our car or our bike, right? The day when we see that some scratch happens to the car, the whole day will be disturbed. We'll feel so pained as if some scratch has happened to my own body. We'll be so disturbed the whole day. Oh my God, what happened to my car? This is called as bodily attachment. Dehatma Buddhi. So liberation means getting free from Dehatma Buddhi. Getting free from this attachment towards the bodily conception of life. Bank balance, relationships, maintaining the status quo. Right? I want to maintain the status quo. Right? So I want to be maintaining certain status. This is a bodily conception. So devotion to Lord Sri Krishna or Krishna consciousness is the negation of Dehatma Buddhi. It is the negation of material life. Parikshit Maharaj was able to give up this material attachment. How? He was able to give it up because he was wholehearted attraction he had towards Lord Krishna. He had a wholehearted attraction towards Lord Krishna. Therefore, getting detached from this bodily conception of life was easy for him. So Parikshit Maharaj is showing the position of a pure devotee. Right? See, Parikshit Maharaj was not a sannyasi. He was a very rich aristocratic king. He was a rich king, not an ordinary king. Right? He was the emperor of the entire world. He was the emperor Chakravarti. Right? Everybody from all countries gave taxes to Parikshit Maharaj. It has been described. So he was doing his royal duties every day. Right? And he was protecting his citizens from the influence of Kali. But he's still a pure devotee. But he's able to give up all the attachment. That is the extraordinary position of Krishna consciousness. Grihe take, vane take, sada bol hari boleda. It doesn't matter whether you are a renunciate or a householder. That is not important. People think that if I leave my house, I am a great person. I am a great renunciate. I'll go back to Krishna. Krishna negates that. He says, sanyasastu mahabhavo dukkhamaptali ayogataha. Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita that even if you take sannyasa, wear the saffron dress and go to the forest and don't do devotional service, dukkhamaptam ayogataha. Without devotional service, you will only feel sad. But on the other hand, if you take karma yoga, that is the devotional service, then what happens? Nachirena adhikachati. Quickly we will be able to go back to Godhead. Very quickly we will be able to attain liberation through Krishna consciousness. So this is what, pure devotee of Lord Sri Krishna, the pure devotional service of Krishna is not same as the sentimental devotional service that we have towards demigods or towards any saintly personalities. No, this is Vairagya Vidya. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha Janayatyas Vairagyam Jnanam Cha Yada Haitukam. By doing the devotional service of Lord Krishna, immediately one attains the knowledge and detachment. That is the feature of the devotional service of Krishna. That's why it's called Vairagya Vidya. It's not an ordinary sentiment that, we are trying to sentimentally sing the songs, right? We are not sentimentalists, right? So here is a contrast between two things. Attachment for household, Dehatma Buddhi, attachment to Krishna. So people, they cannot understand. Ordinary people, when they see a pure devotee, they see that a devotee is also earning money. And they think, okay, this guy is also like us. He's also a materialistic person like me. No. The pure devotee is attached to Lord Sri Krishna. Everything that he does it as a service to Krishna. There is a gulf of difference between these two paths. First one is the path of darkness, Dehatma Buddhi, having attachment towards my body, my wife, my children, right? And my property, bank balance. This is called Dehatma Buddhi. It's the path of darkness leading towards dark lower planetary systems, right? Whereas the Krishna consciousness is the path of light. So the Pandavas, apparently they look as if they are in the path of darkness, but they are not, because they are attached to Krishna. They were very rich, no doubt. That was all the riches given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but they did not enjoy those resources forgetting Krishna. No. They don't tell everything. They don't tell their material assets, and they center their life around Krishna. This is the path of light. Everybody must be, turning our attention. This is what Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna is also saying. Keep me in the center of your life. Right? If I keep myself in the center of the life, then that will lead me to bondage and I will sink downwards. If I keep Krishna in the center of my life, then I will gradually rise upwards. Nirbandhe Krishna Sambandhe Yukta Vairagyam Uchyate. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. This is the principle that we are following, Yukta Vairagya. Whatever material asset that we have, we are not throwing it away, saying, oh, this is material, I hate materialism. No, we are using it in Krishna consciousness. Just like how this technology is there, we are using the technology in Krishna consciousness. Therefore, technology is good. Why should we throw the technology? Like that, we are using all our material assets to serve the Lord. Let's see the next verse. Praprachache mevartham yanmam prachata sattamaha Krishnanubhava shravane shraddhadhana mahamanaha samstam vignaya sanyasya karmatraivargikam chayat vasudeva bhagavati atma bhagavam drudam gatah. The great sages, the great soul Maharaj Parikshit, constantly wrapped in thoughts of Lord Krishna, knowing well of his imminent death, renounced all sorts of fruitive activities, namely acts of religion, economic development, and sense gratification, and thus fixed firmly in his natural love for Krishna and asked all these questions exactly as you are asking me. Who is telling to it this to who? Suta Goswami is telling to the Shaunaka and all the sages of the Naimisharanya. He was saying, see, just like you have asked me a question now about the process of creation, how the universe has been created by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Same question has been asked by Parikshit Maharaj, is what Sukadeva Goswami or the Suta Goswami actually is telling to the Shaunaka. That same question has been asked to Sukadeva Goswami by Parikshit Maharaj. So what was that? Parikshit Maharaj was constantly in the thought of Krishna. He knew that he's going to die in another 7 days and 7 nights. There is a snake that will come and bite him. So the death is hanging on his head. 7 days and 7 nights to go, and the clock is ticking for Parikshit Maharaj, and he renounced Trivarga. What is that Trivarga? That is 3 categories he has renounced. What are they? Dharma, Artha, and Kama. And Dharma, Artha, and Kama he has given up. Let's try to understand this a little bit. So there is Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. 4 Purusharthas. Dharma means religious principles or religious activities. Artha means economic development. Kama means sense gratification. The Vedas give a progressive way of doing this religious activities, economic development, and sense enjoyment in a regulated way, so that we can become liberated, moksha. Right? If we do it as per the prescribed way that is given in the Vedas, then you will get moksha. Just like if there is a medicine which has been prescribed, if you take the medicine as per the prescription, you will get the correct result. Your disease gets cured. But if I try to do it in a different way, the way I want to do it, either I take a lot of the medicine or I take less of the medicine. I take, there is let us say 3 syrups are there. One is sweet, one is bitter, and one is moderate. What I do, bitter one, actually the doctor said take it more. Right? Sweet one, he said take it less. But sweet one I will take less. Bitter one I will take less. Sweet one I will take more. Then I will not get the desired result. I may get the opposite result also. Right? So this Dharma, Artha, Kama, we have to understand, they have been advised for the conditioned souls, especially for the householders. Do some religious activities like fire sacrifices, worship, different kinds of worships that are given in the Vedas. They are all ritualistic karma kandiya, right? The purpose is that, okay, by following these rules, you will be enjoying material prosperity in this life. And in the next life, you will be born in a higher life. It's not aimed exactly at liberation. Of course, the ultimate purpose is to get us liberated. But the apparent purpose is that we are happy in this world, we are enjoying. In the next life also, we are enjoying. At least we are not going to hell. That much protection is given by the Dharma, Artha, and Kama. So if you see the modern civilization, they have given up Dharma. There is no such thing called as religion for them. The only thing that they believe in is Artha and Kama. Economic development. So that's why they say, career is first for me. It's okay for me to give up my parents. It's okay for me to give up my wife. It's okay for me to give anything away. I will even give up Krishna consciousness for the sake of my career, because it's my career. This is called economic development. Or if somebody says, no, I'm enjoying so nicely here. Let me enjoy. Let me not take this difficult path of religion. So this is called as Kama or sense gratification. So the modern civilization has completely given up Dharma. So Parikshit Maharaj, so far, he was following the Karma Kandiya ritualistic process. Of course, even though he was a pure devotee, and there was no necessity for him to follow this, doing the fire sacrifices, giving charity, etc., and doing his religious duties as a Kshatriya, it was not required for him being a pure devotee, but still to set an example, he was doing this Karma Kandiya process. And he got the association of a pure devotee. As soon as we get the association of a pure devotee, just like how Parikshit Maharaj got the association of Shukadeva Goswami, he gave up all the karmakandi activities. So the purpose of that karmakandi activities was only for him to be situated on the platform of goodness, sattva, that's all. Only until we get the pure devotional service, what all this is important. Of course, that doesn't mean that we will give up varnashrama dharma, because we never know if we have become perfect in the pure devotional service or not. Until then, we must remain in our varnashrama dharma, because it helps us. It helps us progressively to be in pure devotional service. It supports us at least to go towards the pure devotional service. Success of pure devotional service, that is to become a pure devotee, to get the love of Krishna. This helps us. So, I'll tell you something very interesting. So, jnanis are a category of people. Karmis are a category of people. And pure devotees are one category of people. Karmis are those people who are working very hard for enjoying economic development and sense gratification. They are called as karmis. So, the karmis, what they do is they read the materialistic parts of the Vedas and they want to see whatever is enjoyment. They see Jyotishthoma Homa, which says, by performing this Homa, you will go to the moon planet and you will enjoy for thousands of years. Wow, I want this now. And they'll get attracted towards the materialistic sections of the Vedas. Right? So that is karmi. Jnani is somebody who has the spiritual knowledge. Spiritual knowledge is, I am the soul, I am not the body. And the super soul is residing in my heart. This much is the knowledge. All those people who have this theoretical knowledge, they are called as jnanis. And it is not just enough to just simply know theoretically that I am not the body. We must realize that. So, first of all, this jnani or a person who knows that I am not the body is 1,000 times better than karmi, who doesn't know anything other than economic development and sense gratification. And among these jnanis also, who are endeavoring for perfection, only one of them is getting perfection, right? So among these people who have become perfect in spiritual knowledge, have realized their soul, self-realized souls, among thousands of liberated souls, it is still very rare to find a devotee. It's very rare to find a pure devotee. Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschit yatati siddhayi yatatamapi siddhanam kaschit mam veti tattvataha. Out of many thousands of men, only few endeavor for perfection. And among those who have already attained perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. So even if you may find 1,000 self-realized souls, you may not be able to find a pure devotee of Krishna, right? So that is the purport. So we are also fortunate actually that we are in the association of this Guru Parampara through Srila Prabhupada and through all these disciples who are acting as gurus right now, right? So there is actually a verse in Bhagavad Gita which says, Vyavasayatmika buddhi rekeha kurunandana bahushaka hi anantasya buddhayo avyavasayana. Those who are resolute in purpose, their aim is one. But the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many branched. That means those who are in Krishna consciousness, their purpose is clear. Their purpose of life is very clear. I have to surrender to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna and go back to home, back to body. But for those who do not know this, Avyavasayana, Bahushaka Anantascha, they have so many other textbooks to read. When we have Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam to read, the materialistic people have hundreds of magazines, hundreds of self-help books, hundreds of novels, so many movies, all of this. Bahushaka Anantascha, infinitely, so many things are there to see and read for the materialistic people, right? So actually, Baldev Vidyabhushan has accepted that the transcendental loving devotional service is the prime duty of the living entities. Sri Baladev Vidyabhushan was a great scholar in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara. he has written a commentary on the Vedanta Sutras, which is called as Govinda Bhashya. And he has written a commentary on Bhagavad Gita also. Right? So he has accepted that service to the Lord is transcendental. Devotional service is not the same as material service. Right? It frees us from fruitive reaction. That is, we'll be freed from our karma by surrendering to Krishna. So Parikshit Maharaj, he accepted the lotus feet of Krishna and he rejected this karmakanda conceptions. So this word's purport is that he rejected all the karmakandiya conceptions which are directing towards the heavenly planets. And he has accepted only the Supreme Personality of Godhead's lotus feet. Raja Parikshit Maharaj is now asking to Shukadeva Goswami. Let us see what Parikshit Maharaj is asking to Shukadeva Goswami. Raja Samichinam Vacho Brahman Sarvagyasya Tavanagha Tamo Vishiryate Mahyam Harikatayata Katam. Maharaj Parikshit said, "O Lord Brahmana, you know everything because you are without material contamination. Therefore, what you have spoken to me appears perfectly right. Your speeches are gradually destroying the darkness of my ignorance, for you are narrating the topics of Lord." So important verse this is. So he's saying, Tamo Vishiryate Mahyam Hare Katayata Katam. By hearing the words of Shukadeva Goswami, Parikshit Maharaj is experiencing a transformation. Spiritual life is a personal experience of transformation from ignorance to knowledge. And it must be direct perception. Pratyaksha avagamam dharmyam susukam kartum avyayam. That is why this is called as Rajavidya, Rajaguhyam, royal secret, and the royal path to go back to God. Just like you have a highway, right, which is like a very high-speed expressway to go back to God. And there may be some other small routes away. Why should we take different routes? When there is a highway, when there is a royal path to go back to Godhead, why not take to the royal path? What is that royal path? That is listening to the transcendental topics of the Lord. Right? Krishna himself said, anybody who knows that my birth and my activities are transcendental, such a person will not be born again. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yoviti tatvataha tyaktva deham punah janma naiti mameti sorju. So this is transcendental. His birth and his activities are transcendental. They are like an injection. Just like you go to the doctor, they will give an injection. And when you're injected, there is an effect in the body. Similarly, when we hear these stories of Krishna, there is an effect that this material contamination, which is there in my subtle body and gross body, that is gradually reducing. Gradual disappearance of ignorance. The perfect example for this is when you're very hungry and when you're eating your food, right? Two things happen. One thing is your hunger is reduced and you're getting pleasure. Two things are happening simultaneously. You're enjoying, wow, what a nice aloo paratha, wow. You're enjoying it. At the same time, your hunger is also coming down. Similarly, Krishna consciousness or listening to Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a test for it also. Whether we are listening properly or not. What is that test? Whether there is positive enlightenment in me or not. Day by day, gradually, if I am able to experience positive enlightenment, that means, that injection of Srimad Bhagavatam is working. So here, Shukadeva Goswami was a person completely free from material attachment. So he is the perfect speaker. Parikshit Maharaj, he was a sincere devotee. He had no other agenda. He did not become a devotee for some other agenda or for some other purpose. He has come to Krishna consciousness for a proper purpose. 7 days to die. I have to go back to God. Very sincere, very serious. So this is a combination that works. The opposite of this combination is a professional reciter of Bhagavad Gita who is teaching Bhagavatam classes for the sake of money. Just because Srimad Bhagavatam Bhagavad Katha is very famous, popular all over India. You can go to any village, and if you are very proficient in speaking Bhagavad Katha, and you can give 7 days, every day 1 hour lecture, they will give you some remuneration. You can collect some donations and live on that. There are so many people who do that. But if such professional men speak Bhagavatam, there is absolutely no use. And if the Karmakandiya audience come and sit, also there is no use. So the Karmakandiya audience, they want to sit for 7 days in the Bhagavatam class, and they want to think that, okay, I've done some ritualistic activity, Bhagavat Saptaha, I'm sitting today and I will get liberated, and will sit in a very Karmakandiya fashion. They will sit like a ritual, and they will be hearing and not sincerely, and they'll go away. So this kind of a combination doesn't work. The proper combination is given by Shukadeva Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj. Let's go to the next verse. Bhuyayeva vivishtami Bhagavan Atma Mayaya Yatedam Srujate Vishwam Durvibhavyam Adhishwaraihi. I beg to know from you how the personality of Godhead, by his personal energies, creates these phenomenal universes as they are, which are inconceivable even to the great demigods. Durvibhavyam Adhishwaraha. Even the great demigods also, they cannot conceive what is going on. What is Krishna doing? How are all these universes getting created and they're getting destroyed? All of them at once. This is inconceivable. Right? That is the promise of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who creates these phenomenal universes. So Parikshit Maharaj is asking to Shukadeva Goswami that how does Lord Krishna create all these phenomenal universes? Right? So every inquisitive mind has a doubt. How is this world created? Just like a small child also asks to his mother, Mama, how was the world created? Who created this world? Right? This question we have to ask to the right person. We have to ask to a learned person who knows everything. Sarvagya means who knows everything. Right? Here, Shukadeva Goswami is very learned scholar. That is why Parikshit Maharaj is asking that question. Right? And here, Parikshit Maharaj is saying that how did Krishna create the universes with the help of his energies? In the question itself, he is exposing his knowledge. That he has got some knowledge. He doesn't have the full knowledge, but he knows that the world has been created by Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. At least he's not asking who created the world. He's asking how did Krishna create? And he's telling how did Krishna create through his energies. So that means he has got some spiritual knowledge. He has got the knowledge of Bhagavatam or whatever. His knowledge of spiritual knowledge, transcendental knowledge he has got. He wants to know the process of creation. This is not automatic. So everything is automatic. Nothing is automatic here, right? So just like, how does a cow, giving milk, is that automatic, right? Can a bull give milk? Cow can give milk. Can a bull also give milk? No. Then how is it that, simply by eating grass, automatically milk is coming, right? Everything is not automatic. Everything is designed, right? It's very simple. A small child may see some appliance, okay? He will see the laptop, he'll see the TV, he'll see the light and say, wow, what is this working? How is this working? Wonderful. Or he will see the fan which is rotating. Mama, who is rotating this fan? How is it rotating on its own? Says, it is the electricity. Electricity is doing it. Then you will say, okay, impersonal electricity. Oh, this is such a wonderful energy. It's like God who's rotating this. You'll think like that. This is called as impersonalism. Means I'm not trying to understand who is behind this. So impersonalism is like a childish knowledge. So, but a knowledgeable person, an electrical engineer, electronics engineer, he will explain how the TV works. The TV has got a TV engineering. There is a process of how the TV renders these pictures, right? There's a process in which the video is coming in the analog signal. It is converted to digital signal. and it is being shown here. And all of this has been designed by various people. TV has been designed. Electricity is managed by the electrical engineers, right? So all this is being managed by people. So nothing is impersonal, nothing is automatic, right? The TV did not come out of its own, right? Somebody was there. There was a creator for the TV. There was a creator for the laptop. For everything, there is a creator, right? So these scholars and philosophers, they create some utopian theories of impersonal creation. So impersonal creation examples, there was a big bang. So there was a bomb blast and everything came out of the bomb blast. So does that happen like that in our real life? That, one day there is boom and tomorrow I have a TV. Another day, boom, and I get another mobile phone. Boom. And I get a laptop. Is this the way how we get things? We have to create, right? Somebody has to create it. And I go to the manufacturer. Manufacturer will sell it to the retailer, wholesaler and retailer. I go to the retail shop and buy it. And I get it and I start using the manual and then I will run it. So there is a person behind the creations. Nothing is impersonal or automatic. So similarly, this creation also, there is a cause. Krishna is saying, I am the eternal seed of all existence in Bhagavad Gita. Right? The devotee tries to understand this by studying Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna. So the devotee knows this by studying this Bhagavad Gita. He knows that there is a hand of the Supreme Personality of Godhead behind everything. Right? So that is why in the Canto number 2, chapter number 2, Shukadeva Goswami has explained about the Virat Rup, Virat Purusha. Right? In the chapter number 1, also towards the end, Shukadeva Goswami explains about the Virat Purusha Rupa. Now, why should we think that God is not there? Some people say, show me God, where is God? God is obviously there. Krishna is saying, I am the taste of the water. You drink water and there is God. You see, just now the sun rose and you see the light. I am the splendor of the sun. Krishna is saying, here is Krishna. And if you see somebody, he's saying, Krishna is saying, I am the promise of the man. If you see a powerful person, you see, here is the energy of Krishna. Or if you see a living entity, you just see a mosquito or a lizard on the wall. And you see there is a living entity which is living. Krishna is saying, I am the life of all that is living. Then why should we think that Krishna is not there? When you switch on this gas for preparing your breakfast, so there is fire. Krishna is saying, I am the heat of the fire. So this is understanding, right? Why Krishna is not there? Krishna is there everywhere. We are not able to see it. We have to get the proper knowledge. This is called as the science of God. If we get this proper knowledge, you can see Krishna everywhere. Okay? So, spiritual master who is giving this knowledge, he must be Sarvajna, a very learned personality. That was Shukadeva Goswami. He is able to clear these doubts that this creation is not automatic. There is a hand of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the Vedas are very clearly saying, Sa Ikshate, the Supreme Personality of Godhead glanced at the material nature and everything set forth. The Vedas and the Upanishads are there saying like that. Then why we should reject that there is no Supreme Personality of Godhead? I don't know why we are saying that Sanatana Dharma has no conception of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is against the sentiment of all the devotees of Sanatana Dharma to bring an impersonal kind of reality, and saying that impersonalism is beyond personalism is actually a complete myth, right? Because even a small child knows that, everything has come from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everybody accepts that, right? This creation has come from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? This we have to know. Even the great people, personalities like Lord Brahma, right? Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva, Indra, they are getting bewildered. Mukhyanti Yasurayaha. What to speak about a mundane philosopher, mundane scholar? Lord Brahma, his lifespan is 311 trillion years and 40 billion years. Right? What is the comparison of Lord Brahma's brain, who is the creator of this universe, and a third-class scientist who is there, who has done 2-3 degrees, who hardly lives for 100 years. With great difficulty he will live. And immediately at the age of 50, our remembrance power will come down slowly. Right? And this kind of a living entity is challenging Brahma. That Brahma doesn't know. That he knows. I know better than Brahma, who lives for 311 trillion and 40 billion years. I can't even fit 311 trillion years in my imagination also. But I am commenting on Brahma and creation of Krishna. How is it possible? And this Lord Brahma is saying, Ishvaraha Paramaha Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govindam Sarvakarna Karnam. He's saying that Supreme Personality of Godhead is Krishna. There are so many powerful personalities. No, there are many powerful personalities. Ishvara. Many Ishvaras are there, controllers. Parama Ishvara. Ishvara Paramaha. There is one Parama Ishvara. There must be one Parameshwara. There cannot be two Parameshwaras. If there are two Parameshwaras, how is it possible? Then who will decide if there is a conflict? We don't have two constitutions. We do not have two prime ministers. We do not have two chief ministers. Then how will we have two gods? Right? There may be many other Ishvaras, many other demigods. But who are also very powerful, agreed. But there must be one supreme personality of Godhead. Parama Ishvara Parama Krishna. Brahma is saying. Lord Brahma is saying, the creator. Sachidananda Vigraha. He doesn't have a material form like that. People have an objection because Krishna is like he has two hands, he is blowing flute and he has 2 feet. He lived in Dwapar Yuga. You are thinking, no, it's not like that. We are not Sachidananda Vigraha. Krishna is Sachidananda Vigraha. Right? Krishna is Sachidananda Vigraha. Sachidananda Vigraha means, okay. Hare Krishna. Okay, so let's go to the next verse. So here the question is, please describe the Supreme Lord who is maintaining this universe. How is he creating this universe? Okay, I will conclude quickly now because we have another class by Kalachakra Prabhu. I'll just take another 2 minutes and I'll conclude this session. Right? So basically, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has got multiple energies: external energy, internal energy, and marginal energy. External energy is Maya. Internal energy is this devotional service. And marginal potency is the Jivas. So everything in the universe has been created. So the entire creation, which is made up of Maya, or which is Maya, that is also the external energy of Krishna, the shadow potency of Krishna, Durga Devi. Internal energy of Krishna is Bhakti potency, Radharani potency. And marginal energy is the Jivas, living entities. So that is how this universe is inconceivably wonderful. There are innumerable universes. There is no one universe, right? The material world is only 1/4 of the entire creation, right? The 3/4 is Vaikuntha Jagat, and Vaikuntha doesn't get destroyed. Material world gets destroyed, right? So actually, after we die, we go to another planet based on whom we worship. If we worship the demigods, we'll go to the demigods' planets. If we worship the Pitrus, we go to the Pitru planet. And if we worship the ghostly spirits, we'll go to their worlds. So there is a transfer from one planet to another. Just now we are thinking about interplanetary transfer, right? That happens after the death. That has been informed in Bhagavad Gita, right? So nobody can understand Krishna. Only Krishna can tell about himself. So whatever Bhagavad Gita, Krishna reveals his knowledge, only that we can understand. To some extent, Shukadeva Goswami and Vyasadeva, they can say. The self-realized people, Narada, they can say to some extent. But if we have to understand about Krishna, we have to get it from him only, right? Because he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? And Krishna, how he is expanding. Krishna, from Krishna comes Baladev, from whom comes Sankarshana, Vasudeva, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, again Sankarshana, Vasudeva, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, and now the Purushavataras. And then there are so many innumerable avatars that are coming, just like the uncountable waves of a river, they are coming. All of these avatars are one and the same, even though they are appearing differently. This is called as the Achintya Bheda Bheda. To conclude, Krishna, who is Krishna? I will read a verse from Ishopanishad. It says, Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Shishyate. The personality of God is perfect and complete. And because he is completely perfect, all emanations from him, such as this phenomenal world, are perfectly equipped as complete wholes. Whatever is produced of the complete whole is also complete in itself, because he is the complete whole. Even though so many complete units emanates from him, he remains the complete balance. So a lot of people, they think Krishna means, okay, Krishna, I understand. He is all-pervading Vishnu. He's just like you take a paper, tear it into small pieces, and all these small pieces are the living entities and the material world. If you want Krishna, join them back together, that is Krishna. No. Even though all the living entities are coming from Krishna, even though all the material worlds are coming from Krishna, even though all the spiritual worlds have come from Krishna, he is still complete. It is not that something has gone from him. It's not that he has become incomplete now because the material world has come out. This is the perfect understanding of the science of Godhead. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.